Today we are going to talk about basically comparing fractions, right? Which fraction is bigger? Um, so that is a big thing, and it's really important to kind of be able to figure out which fraction is bigger and just kind of have an understanding of how much a fraction actually how much it's actually worth, I guess you could say. How close to a whole is the fraction, or how just about where it is, right? So let's look at this problem. Avery and Dakota ordered the same size personal pan pizzas from Pizza Hut for dinner. Avery ate 5/6 of his pizza, and Dakota ate 5/8 of his pizza. Who ate more of their pizza? How do you know? So there are a couple of ways to do this. I'm going to show you guys. Well, I'm just going to show you using a picture here. And as I've said before, I don't necessarily like the idea of using pictures to solve fraction problems, just because it's not always accurate. Like, you're not going to draw perfect circles with perfectly equal shapes. As you can see, this slice right here is much smaller than this slice, right? But we're kind of pretending that they're all exactly the same size. So this one is split into sixths, and this is split into eighths, right? That's the denominators of them right here. So to do 5/8 would be right here. And then 5/6 would be right here. Now, from this, it's pretty obvious that 5/6 is more pizza than 5/8, right? But, as I said, it's always good to use numbers as opposed to just drawing the pictures, because pictures can be a little misleading, especially if the fractions are very close to each other, right? If this was 7/8 and 5/6, it might be harder to tell which one is more filled in, right? So, how can we do this math-wise? There are a couple of things. First of all, the lower the denominator, right? The lower we split a whole into, right? The lower number of pieces we split the whole into, which is the denominator, the larger the pieces are going to be. So if I split this into a half, 1/2 is going to be larger than 1/3, right? Which is going to be, once again, larger than 1/4, and so on. The more pieces we split the whole into, the smaller the pieces get. So the bigger the denominator, the smaller the pieces are, which is kind of counterintuitive, I guess, when you're first learning about fractions. What I mean by that is that it's a bit hard. It's usually when numbers go up, things are getting bigger. But when the denominator goes up, the pieces are getting smaller. So that means that if you ever have the same numerator, the fraction with the smaller denominator is going to be bigger. Always. Because with the same numerator, if you have the same amount of pieces, but some of the pieces are bigger, in this case sixths are bigger than eighths, then obviously the bigger pieces are going to fill up more if they're the same amount of pieces, which is the numerator, right? So, so that is one way of showing how to do it. Now, the most foolproof way of showing how to find which fraction is bigger is finding a common denominator between them, and then you're comparing, as they would say, apples to apples, basically. So one easy way to do this that will always work 100% of the time is take the denominator from this fraction, from one fraction, and multiply both top and bottom by that denominator, and do the same thing with this denominator, and we multiply this, 8 over 8, and since we're multiplying 8 times 6 on this one and 6 times 8, we're getting the same denominator, so then it becomes 30, 5 times 6 is 30, 8 times 6 is 48, or 5 times 8 is 40, and 6 times 8 is 48. So which one's more? Obviously, if they have the same denominator, the one with more in the numerator is going to be bigger. So this is basically the foolproof way of figuring out which one's bigger and which one's smaller. But there are other tricks so that you might not even have to do math if you know them, and I will discuss those in a future video.